Alright, Fearless Mods fans. Hey, it's me, Biff, and I'm here with you today to finally unveil what we've been talking about for a few months here. And that is what was in that big box before we left New Jersey. You probably already know. I may have slipped it a time or two, and you've probably already seen hints of it. But that's it right there, and it didn't go with that car, though it doesn't look too bad on that green S13, but it belongs on this one. And it's time to give the STi her trademark signature tail. Okay, so now that we got this deck lid finally fitting the way it's supposed to, and sprung the way it's supposed to be sprung, we need to put the weight on it that it's actually designed to spring. And it's a lot heavier than just this deck lid by itself. It's that over there. So the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and pull off the ducktail here. I only have it pushed in there lightly for purposes of keeping rain out of the holes while it was in storage, and we'll see how easily it comes back off. So here it comes. Get ready for it. Okay, so there's the WRX ducktail. Make way for what this car was intended to have. Okay, so these are obviously the plastic gasketing that goes on there to seal it. This is just what this car needed, and that's another color to sport around town. So why not gray? Light gray. When we've got red and silver and black, of course we need gray. So the fun part here is going to be finding the placement. There are some holes on the inside of the trunk that I think for the 3 bolts, those are inside the trunk, and we might be able to locate them primarily, or at least as a secondary way, from the back side. But ultimately I'm going to want to make sure and measure everything on the deck lid itself so that everything is perfectly placed. I have some pretty good photos of other STIs, so I can make sure I get the placement just right, because we want it to be perfect. The other, so there's 3 bolts on each side. There's also 3 of those little plastic push pin things that just kind of go in to keep it in position, and those are going to be additional. So that's 6 holes per side that we've got to drill into this deck lid. How hard can it be, right? If you look at this, there's the 3 black arrows are bolts, the 3 gray arrows are the push plastic tabs, and then A on each side is a plug that allows you to access. Because this is a WRX hood, it doesn't have the access point here with the cap over it, so that might be something that we cut just so that we can access these 2 different things. One of them's a bolt head, so we'll have to be able to get into it from here to secure the bolt, and the other one's a push plastic clip type thing, and you need to be able to get to it from behind to release it. But bottom line, you've got 1, 2, 3 plastic clips, and 1, 2, 3 bolts. So plastic clips go like this, bolts are here, here, and here. 6 different points that I've got to translate to the outside of the hood, or the trunk, for both sides. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just start working from the outside to get those marked. So I'm starting to think maybe the best thing to do might be to make a template. So I'm going to go ahead and get a piece of cardboard that's the right length and get it cut to size here to where I can approximate the shape and everything, tape it together and make a template that we can lay down here onto the trunk lid, and start to maybe locate our holes with some level of precision. Okay, so the holes in here are measuring out at 0.325. Regardless of whether it's the blue connectors or the green ones. I'm not sure why the symmetry. It's the same thing on this spoiler. The one in the middle was blue and the two outer ones were green, but they're all 0.325. Using my handy dandy chart here, 0.323 is just over 5/16, so 5/16 would be 0.3125, 12.5 thousandths off, which I think would probably be okay. I think it's safer to go small first, and I'm more likely to have a 5/16 drill bit. Alright, so I've drilled all these out. Got a rough template here. Now what I'll do is look at the photos of where that's been placed previously on the other vehicles that I've looked at, and I'll get this secured down and start marking these holes. Okay, so I'll show you a couple of the shots here of the STi that I photographed the wing extensively on, the connection points, so I could use that as a reference. And with those in mind, I took the template and laid it on here, and even though it's not super accurate, the holes are good, but the outlines are not extremely accurate. They're close enough that I can kind of try to look at where these two top corners lie out here and here, and place those so that the spacing from the front edge of this platform to the front edge of the trunk looks even and about the same as the pictures. And then I can double check the back end of the platform here to make sure that it's not like hanging over the edge or going to be so close that it might hang over the edge. And so what I did then was I drew the circle in this top left hole, and then moved this, used my tape measure to locate the measurements here, both there, and then I came diagonally off the corner here because it'd be hard to get a good measurement off of the curve. And I got those two measurements, and then I came over here and put the same two measurements on and found my crossing point. And then when I did that, I put the template back on it, located precisely over the centers of those marks, these holes, and in so doing, discovered that they're pretty much exact. So that means that just that initial wag off of using the template worked out very well. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and again make sure I'm located just right on those, and I'm going to tape the template down so I can mark the other holes. And then before I do that, what I can do is set the wing on here and just give it an extra check before I start marking holes and stuff. They look pretty good, so I'm going to go ahead and keep marking holes. Try to go in with a 1/16 inch bit initially. Just start small so it's not walking all around. One thing I was concerned about is some of them didn't seem to go down in very far. So we'll take a look at that now. Actually, there's a ledge in there, and that one goes all the way, no problem. All right, so let's give you an update here. So these holes, I've got them drilled, and I have stars next to a couple of them. Those are the ones that have probably another piece of metal behind them that's sandwiched in there, and we want to make sure that they come all the way through. So one of them is pretty obvious when you look right here. That hole's good. That one comes through and hits this piece of metal in here that's sandwiched. It's actually a few layers. I can feel a couple of them. So we're gonna have to drill all the way through that to allow room to get the nut on there and for the bolt to come through. So that one's an obvious one. There's other stuff going on behind, like the one back here that has some metal behind it as well, that we're not able to see, but that's just one of the plastic pins. So those 3 holes I'm going to go ahead and drill deeper, and then we'll go ahead and commence with the larger drill so that we can see what we got behind there. Alright, so the 5/16 bit it is. No return now. This one. All right, time for another update. So, with the exception of the one super ugly hole, they're all working out pretty good. The multiple layer one in there, I was just trying to decide if the nut, so you can see a couple of them are multiple layer, but that's bolt, and I'm going to be creating the access hole on this side to get to that. Yeah. So these are the 3 that are bolts. This one and these 2 are the bolts. These 3 are the push pins. Okay, that was a whole lot of you watching me fight with this thing. Pops nice now, doesn't go flinging up. But what I got to do is measure these holes here, because I need to be able to drill this one out to the same size as these so I can get in there. In fact, I need to be able to drill that one out further because the threads don't come out far enough for me to get a nut on there because of the layers in there. So clearly they make two different trunks for these STi and non-STi versions. So it looks like this is about 0.865 roughly. Where are you? About 55, 64. So I could just get a 7/8 100th over. I think that would suffice since it's just an access hole. 0.865. And then there's only going to be 2 of the little these things in there because I had to snap the blue ones off. They don't come out like the green ones, and so I had to snap them off because I didn't want them getting popped in there where then I couldn't pull that thing on and off repeatedly like I was doing. So I will have 2 of those green push pins and 3 bolts, so 5 out of the 6, and then we'll be good to go. No keys. I'm gonna go get a 7/8 drill bit. What I got right here. Let's take a look at this one. It might be the right size. It looks like it's made for wood and not metal. That's the size. I'm going to go ahead and put these back in it and give that a shot because I have extras. I'll be able to, that fan's probably pretty loud. I will be able to, if these break when coming out, that'll be fine. I'll be able to replace them. All right, let's get this thing on. The WANG is attached. Gosh, that sounds good. Fits good. Looks good. Boom. So what remains? I've got to fill these and get those, you know, the body work on that done. There's a couple dents along here from where the duck wing was on there. I'm not sure why, but man, this is perfectly mounted. The holes may not have lined up perfectly. May have had to have some struggles, and it may not be super pretty under there, but it's on, it's in place. It's got 5 connections on each side, minus the blue center connectors that I just didn't want those getting stuck in there where when this has to come off the paint, I can't get them off. But it looks fantastic, and now the trunk pops the way it should. Just comes loose, and then you have the torsion bars just giving you the assist. Now, there's a lot of metal, and in fact, an extra nut inside here from all the drilling and everything. It may work its way down here to these little holes eventually. I know I've already gotten some of it off of the bumper back here. I've been dusting it off of there because it's working its way down. But the last thing I'm going to do, just because I want to give it just a little bit of a hint of what's to come color-wise, is I'm going to take off this and replace it with this one, because now that I'm at my 4th color, I don't know what to call that. I think it's like a putty color, like a light putty color. So now I have a 4-colored car, quad color. Why not use one of those existing colors that I have to just give it an extra little splash back here on the back. huge shout out to Liberty Auto Subaru, because they've been sponsoring us throughout this entire build, but on this they went even more above and beyond. So they usually give us a pretty good deal on parts anyways, but they really made this one worth our while. They felt that it was important, as I do, that this car have its signature tail on it and not just the little duck spoiler. So it's going to look great. Huge shout out to those folks up there. Can't wait to get up there and take the Subi up to see them once we get done, or maybe before, we'll see. Please be sure to check those guys out. Links in the description. It is SubaruPartWholesale.com, and you can pick whatever you want on there, buy your VIN number, dig through it, find what you need, and they'll have it to you quickly, cheaply, with shipping included for less than you can get it at your local dealer, almost guaranteed. So please check them out, and if you're in the area, stop in and see them, and tell them that Biff from Fearless Mods said hello. And wow, I look disheveled. It's got a WANG, man. The STi has its WANG. She's whole again. That is a great addition, but it also adds a fourth color. So, man, I'm running out of colors on the palette. Anyway, hey guys, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.